Hi, everybody. You are listening to Judging Meghan with your host, Meghan Judge. There's nothing better than recording with somebody and they show up like all formal, looking great, like they're in a business meeting. And then you see me showing up, and I'm going to give a shout out to Susie Condi because I love her sweatsuits. But yeah, I'm wearing a sweatsuit and I did put makeup on today, but I'm going to be honest. I did stay up too late last night. I live in Manhattan Beach, California, and we had our Christmas tree pure lighting, and I can't stay up that late anymore. And so I was out late with my daughter, Ella, and we were out with friends. And so I got very little sleep last night. So Kelly, I hope that this interview is not a hot mess for you and you don't walk away going, who is that woman? And what did I just go through? Really? So that's my goal for today. Welcome to the podcast, Kelly Chase. So for my listeners, or if you're watching and you're seeing Meghan Judge looking like Jeffrey Dahmer in these glasses today, I am excited, thrilled to have you on. So Kelly is known for Love is Blind, season 1. If I say something incorrect, just correct me. I'm not offended. She also is an abuse survivor herself, and she has her own podcast and a course that we're going to talk about at the end. So I'm just thrilled to have you on today. Welcome to the podcast, Kelly.
Thank you. Thanks so much. And I love your look because that's how I would like to be looking right now. I actually did just come from like a business meeting. So. Okay.
Cause I'm like, do I give off like, let's wear a suit? But I'm impressed by people that show up and they're all, yeah, I enjoy a sweatsuit. I'm not going to lie. I like to be cash. Okay. So let's start out with the following. So you're known for Love is Blind season 1. I did a little bit of research on this. This was in 2018, correct? That you went on Love is Blind.
Yes, we filmed in 2018. The show aired February of 2020.
Oh, okay. So right before COVID. Yeah. Okay. Good timing. Yeah. So I will tell you that I have watched a season of Love is Blind. And I now need to go back and watch your season. I cannot wait because the season I watched was with the girl that this was a couple of years ago. And the girl was, I don't remember anyone's name, but she ended up with this guy and he told her she was fat and she like looked like a horse behind her back. Do you watch it after your season?
I've watched some, but okay. I don't watch that one.
Okay. So I'm fascinated by the show and it was one of those shows that I'm like, I need to go back and watch it because the idea of the show is to get a couple together, right? You've never met before and you start dating this guy, and there's a bunch of different guys and a bunch of girls, and they're all in like a house kind of situation, right? Mm-hmm. And you're being thrown in and you have these like dates with this person, and then they go on and they date other people, and then both of you decide at the end if you want to be together. Did I give that away correctly?
Yes, except for the big thing is there's a wall between us, so you cannot see each other.
I forgot. Yeah. So that hence everyone. Wow. Way to pitch it. Like so great of me. I don't know why I'm not pitching shows. So the premise is you cannot see the person. So it's all about like what they are on the inside. That's most important. Correct?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
Exactly. Emotional and like intellectual conversations or lack thereof.
Okay. So I know you had been through a lot coming up to that point, but let me ask you something, Kelly. You're a very attractive woman. You seem very smart. You're wearing a nice suit. What in God's name made you go, I want to go on a reality show where I go and date men or a series of guys, and then I have no idea what they look like? You have to tell me that right now. I need to know.
Okay. So like I said, we filmed in 2018, the end of 2018, and April was when I got the phone call from casting. So 6 months prior to, rewind 6 months earlier, I like left corporate America. I was like doing a 180 on my life and was like, I just am saying yes to different opportunities. And I was on this whole like self-love journey, personal development journey. And so I'm like, well, I don't have a 9 to 5 that I have to like take PTO off from. When they called, I normally don't answer phone calls, but I do love California. And it was someone calling from Santa Monica. And that's what it said, Santa Monica, California. I was like, oh no, something's just calling me to answer this one. And I did. And I had actually gone through a different casting years prior to for a different reality show. Mind you, I don't really watch reality TV. I think it's extremely toxic.
Yeah, it can be.
Yes, it can be very toxic. So I'm more of a like scripted actor drama series. But I don't know. I just kind of felt like when they pitched the idea to me, I mean, they called and they were like, hey, like it's so-and-so from casting. We still have your file. Are you still single? And I'm like, yes, I am. And they pitched it to me and I thought that it was an interesting concept altogether, just because there was probably some ego driving the ship in this, because I just recalled my friends always being like, Kelly, you like go after these guys that are, they're good looking, but they also don't treat you really nicely either. They're not ready for commitments and all of that. And so a part of me thought, okay, I'm going to like meet these guys without seeing them. And I'm going to see if I can draw up a connection with them. And in my head, I was like, I'm really picky. I doubt I will, but whatever, this could be a fun experiment. And so I think that was kind of the motivating factor was, hey, let's like prove my friends wrong in a sense. And I was also, I am single. I've been on this self-love journey. I feel like I'm in a good place to meet someone. Why not leave why should I like limit myself to certain opportunities? So that was pretty much why I decided to do it. But 2 weeks before we started filming, I did get cold feet and I like tried to ghost production. And they were like, what are you doing? Like, you've already gone through all the screening. Like, we are ready to go. And I was like, I have like I feel like I have a good reputation here in Atlanta. Like, I don't know what is going to come of this. And I don't know, I'm just getting cold feet. And they're like, we're not trying to like ruin anyone's life. It's an experiment for everyone. And obviously they talked me down off the ledge. And I was like, okay, you're right. Who knows what could happen? I mean, I may not even meet anybody and I would be sent home in a few days. So so
you ended up doing it and then you ended up getting engaged. I'm not trying to give away the whole story. And I actually might come back to it because I want to ask you really, because why you're here is I love that you were on Love is Blind. I think it's a very fascinating concept of a show to put people that don't see each other in a room together. I mean, it sounds great on paper, right? You're like, we're together for all the right reasons of really knowing each other from the inside rather than the outside, which is, I think, a really interesting concept. Yeah. But I'm going to pause what happens for the listeners in case they didn't watch it. They can go back and come back to your experience at the end, because I want to know about you as a human being. And I came from corporate America too, so very similar background. I'm wondering if you left for the same reasons I did. And I want to find out where you're from. Tell me about yourself. And then we'll come back to because I would love for my listeners and myself to kind of know the end piece at the end, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
So tell me about you. So are you from Atlanta?
Yeah. Born and raised in Georgia. My parents are not from the South, so I don't refer to myself as like a true Georgia peach, but I am born and raised about an hour east of Atlanta. Went to school at UGA through and through. I've traveled a lot, so I can say I've gone out and branched myself out, but yeah.
And as my mom had a house in outside Charleston, South Carolina, on Kiowa Island. So I love the South. It's beautiful. I used to have to travel there for work to Atlanta all the time. So it's definitely very different than where I live in California, but the people are nice. And I just think there's so many great things about the South that I love. So tell me, what was your childhood like?
Yeah. So, I mean, we didn't have any extended family in Georgia. So it was the four of us. I have an older sister. We're 14 months apart. We were pretty close. We're not as close anymore. Family stuff, but growing up, I mean, my mom was always like, you better learn to love each other because you're the only ones you got. So yeah, we were. And then, obviously high school and everything happened. We were still close then. It's just been more over the last 15 years or so that we've kind of drifted apart, but, which is unfortunate. And I pray every day that we come back together and things are good. But, I was very much, when people would ask you, what do you want to be when you grow up? I would always say a teacher, a baby doctor, or an actress. Always. And everyone always is like, yeah, of course, like you can do that, right? Well, then when it comes down to like, okay, now let's actually get serious about life. We have to like apply to colleges and that kind of thing. I just remember being in my kitchen and talking to my parents about, what am I going to do? Like, what major am I going to pick? What am I going to do as I'm applying for all these universities? And my mom had been a kindergarten teacher for like 15 years, and she had left education to go into sales, and then she became a coach herself for a few years. But I remember my parents I want to say, yes, they discouraged me from those career paths, but I know it was because they were just looking out for my best interest, of course. And my mom was like, I was in it for 15 years. It was just very political. It wasn't fun to be a teacher anymore. And to have all that and you don't get paid enough, like, it's just, no, I don't want you to go that route. Baby doctor, my parents were like, you just went through 10 years of school. You're gonna have to go through like another 12 years of school. Like, do you want to be in school for half your life?
Yeah.
And I'm like, no, I really don't want to do that either. And then the whole acting thing, they were just kind of like, you kind of either got to like know somebody who knows somebody. Like, you're not just going to become Julia Roberts tomorrow. I mean, you might, but probably not. So, and you're still going to have some type of income coming in while you're trying to make it out there. So my first year in college, I just basically took the basic classes. And then now I'm like, well, shit, I don't know what I want. I still don't know what I want to do. I probably should have hired like a mentor, or a life coach or career coach or something like that. But I wasn't aware of those things back then, 20 years ago. And my sister was getting a degree in fashion merchandising. And I was like, sure, I'll just do that too. So I did. I've never done anything with it. I mean, I graduated college and I went into like sales and account management roles, which I feel like I thrive in regardless, because I'm more of a people person. And so in and out of corporate over the last 20 years. And in 2013, I got certified as a holistic health coach and started pursuing that. So, I did it for 5 years as like a side hustle to my corporate job. And again, in 2017 is when I left that corporate position to pursue the health coaching. And just like I said, I was trading going out and binge drinking on the weekends for listening to podcasts and reading personal development books. And everyone thought I was really depressed. And I kind of was, because people stopped calling me to hang out because I wasn't doing what they were doing anymore. There were a few friends, which are still my very good friends to this day, that would be like, Kel, we can just go for a walk. Like, we don't have to like go drink until 3:00 in the morning. So it did get very isolating and very lonely, but I did start to connect with people like on Facebook groups and that kind of thing, and poured myself into a mastermind. And right before we started filming Love is Blind, and connected with a lot of, relatable women at the time that were also trying to launch coaching businesses or whatever, and still very good friends with them to this day. But yeah, I mean, to rewind a little bit, in college, my senior year, I believe it was, I guess the summer before my senior year kind of took a friendship to a friends with benefits, or I'm sure that he was hoping that I would want to date him, and we didn't. And I made that clear, and I think he was like, okay with that, like, well, that's fine. Like, we can just hang out. I was like, okay, but I had been friends with him for probably 2 years prior to, and I loved this guy. Like, I mean, he was so fun. And so, he was one of my really good friends. But it went south really quick. And
okay, let me just stop you right there.
Okay.
Because before we go into that part of it, I need to tell you,
okay.
we have very similar like backgrounds, because
Really?
I moved to LA to become an actress. I went to college. I was a theater major. Same thing. My parents would not let me. They were like, you're not going to, why would you ever do that? Like, you're not
Right.
going to, and I happen to be married to an actor. So I know the business very well. But what I will say is I ended up in corporate America too. And I think I watched a video that you posted like the other day where it's like you clocking out for the last time, because I kind of went like stalked your Instagram to like find out some stuff.
Yeah.
And I remember, because you're talking about the coaching stuff and kind of finding your purpose. And as females, I would love to know this from you. Corporate America for women is very, very hard.
Yeah.
And if you feel, because I was in sales too, by the way. So I had those sales background, and kind of felt like, well, if I'm not going to act, what would I be good at? I'm good at talking to people. You know,
Right.
that's what I love to do. Now I'm a podcaster. So it kind of is full circle like you.
Yep.
But I feel like when you say all these things and you kind of get to this place, before we're talking about the situation with the friend or boyfriend, that you stopped me in my tracks to realize that when you talked about going into the coaching and leaving and getting into this, your eyes light up.
Yeah.
You know, like, and I understand that so much, because I remember the feeling, and I'm sure there's a lot of listeners out there that are in these jobs, and you have the benefits and you're making the money, and you might have a pension or you might have a 401k, and you have great benefits, but you're sitting there going, this isn't what I'm supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
Like, I'm stuck, and this is not where I'm supposed to be going in my life.
Yeah.
And I really want listeners, especially because a lot of times it's the financial piece of it. And I'm not telling anybody, go quit your job and don't do what I did, put it that way. And I'm lucky because I have a husband and he helps and whatever. But if you are, and I have to say this because it just reminds me so much, and I love to interrupt, so I apologize. But
no, okay, I can expand on this topic too.
yeah, no, I would love for you. It's because it's a really long question that I just want to hear myself talk first. Is the piece of it where it's like, I'm stuck. I hate what I'm doing. I'm collecting a paycheck. Where am I going? How do I get out of this? And what am I supposed to be doing? Right? So when you said that, and then you said, and then I left and I did this, and then I saw your eyes light up. And to be able to see that in another person, I feel like there's so many of us, especially women, that are stuck in these jobs because we're supposed to be proving something, or we're supposed to be like, we can do it all. We can be moms, and we can do this and we can do that. And we're going to prove everybody wrong. And then you end up in these corporate jobs, and you are female, and the men are always taken more seriously. Like, you could come up with an idea and they go, oh, you're stupid and you're blonde. I'm not saying you're blonde. I'm saying me, but you're just a woman and you have no idea. And then the man says it a day later, and then they get promoted, and you're like, what is going on? So I would love for you to talk about that before we go into that, because I know that falls into what you do now too.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, to your point, yes, I felt very stuck. I mean, like I said, I had become a health coach in 2013, and I didn't leave corporate until 2017. So four years. And I recognized that I was just in the same pattern that entire time, and probably before. I mean, because since college, I think I always had like a side. I was either bartending, doing liquor promotion. Like, I always had a side thing going on. So for 10 years, essentially, it was almost like I was super like productive and successful, and all of that, like, great things were going on Monday through Friday afternoon, right? Like, I'm getting up, I'm working out, I'm going to work all day, coming home. I taught spin classes at the time too. So, whether it was creating playlists for my spin classes or having a coaching client, but I mean, my days were long because I was waking up at 5 a.m. Sometimes I was teaching spin during some of those days too. So getting up at 5 a.m., I may not go to bed until 10 or 11 o'clock at night. And that is because I am actually doing something the entire time. I was extremely burnt out. And then on the weekends, I needed to disconnect. And that's why I would say, like, I was just like binge drinking every weekend, and it may have started Thursday night, wake up and go to work with a really bad hangover on Friday. But it was just cyclical like that for so long. And I would lose myself in guys that I was attracted to. Nobody really wanted to commit. And, I'm like, I definitely was like seeking for that acceptance and validation from everything and everyone, you know, even probably with the job, with the career stuff. I'm like, someone like noticed me that I'm doing all this, right? And it was exhausting. It was absolutely exhausting. And I had actually gotten myself into a little romantic situation at work nobody knew about. I don't think they still do, but that also didn't work out. And for like a year, this person and I had to work, like sit across from each other, and it would break my heart, you know? And of course I'm like, I'm the cool girl. Like maybe he'll want me back or maybe he'll want me at some point. He wants to date me at some point. And that never happened. And we wound up both putting our 2 weeks notice in about 2 weeks apart from each other. He put it in first.
Is that because you had like a secret relationship or something? Yeah.
So we had like a secret fling going on, and he was like, I don't think this is going to progress into anything else. And I was like, why? And he's like, I don't think it's good to like date someone I work with. And I was like, well, I've been here for a long time. I don't care. Like, I'm not married to this job. Like I was just showing up for a paycheck every day and to like see my friends at work, you know, like there was no true purpose and passion there. So I was like, well, I'll quit. He was like, no, like, no, that's dumb. But yeah, I think it was just like, I was just so ready. I was like, I have to like get away from him. I have to get away from the stuckness in life. Like I just have to get away. But so he actually submitted his resignation 2 weeks before I did. And I was like, dang it. Like we were on the same team. And I'm like, I can't, like, if we both go, there won't be a team anymore. Like it'll be like one guy left. But I was like, Kelly, they'll figure it out. You got to do it. So I put my resignation in too. And yeah, it was the best decision I made. And that's like, I started reading personal development books. I had connected with this guy on Instagram who I'm still friends with to this day. I've never met him in person. I've had him on my podcast. That's as far as like in real life we've gotten, but he was posting things around mindset. And he had also gone to the same coaching school that I had gone to, journaling, meditation, like all the stuff that was extremely foreign to me outside of like, I knew some people that did it, but like, as far as people that I associated with more on a direct basis, I just didn't see that. And so anyways, I was like following this guy's journey. We connected, we talked on the phone a couple of times. And I think that was kind of like a little awakening for me. And so he had recommended some books and I started reading and I was like, whoa, and like having like epiphanies going off every time I was reading something new. But I will say this, you know, to make a long story short, I am in corporate America again right now. So let me see. After we got done filming, I had taken 2 months off from doing anything, you know, coaching related. And I was kind of a hot mess after we got done filming. There was a lot. I mean, it was just so much in such a short period of time in my brain. It was like, oh my God, nervous system, dysregulation, all the things. And so a few weeks after we got done filming, I hired a woman to be my business and mindset coach. I didn't really understand what a mindset coach was, but I was like, whatever. I enjoyed what I had seen already from her. And so I'm like, yeah, sure. I just need to focus on my business because that's what we do. We distract ourselves from healing our stuff, right? So I was like, let me just go and do this. But our first session, I think I cried the whole time. I mean, she didn't break me down. I was breaking down in her sessions, but we did a lot of like inner child healing, subconscious reprogramming, shadow work, like all the stuff that I had never done before. And it cracked me wide open. And I was like, whatever transformation just happened in me, I have to do with other women. Like that was so profound. So I started kind of, I just wasn't as confident in myself yet. I probably hadn't truly like embodied the teachings per se, but I started like, you know, transitioning my content away from like showing food and workouts to mindset and money mindset and like entrepreneurship and losing engagement. Had I stuck with it, it would have been fine, but I was just so dysregulated from everything. So went back in 9 to 5, was there for a little over 2 years. And in that time frame, Love is Blind aired. And I stuck with it. A year to the day that Love is Blind, our first episode aired, I had 2 panic attacks or anxiety attacks back to back. I mean, I was very unwell 2020 to 2021. I mean, I don't drink coffee. I don't drink energy drinks. I would drink coffee. I would drink energy drinks to just stay afloat. Now, granted, I know the whole world was like, I mean, it was pandemic. Like everyone was suffering mental health wise. But yeah, it felt like I had like
And
four.
you were also in a fishbowl, I'm assuming, on social media, having all of these
Yes.
people come after you, or they
Yeah.
either like you or they hate you. I mean, people
Yes.
don't realize what that can feel like, because we're all people at the end of the day. So if you put yourself on a reality show,
Hmm.
without even realizing it, they don't explain. There should be like some kind of mental health guidebook. Maybe you
Yeah.
can write one on how to
Yeah.
survive being, because there's so many of them now. And,
Yes.
and they do a lot of those, like, where are they now kind of shows
Mhm.
about people that go on reality shows.
Yeah.
But that people hide behind keyboards in general,
Right.
and they say mean, awful things.
Terrible things.
And that's why I kind of brought up that the episode, or the season that I watched, where
Yeah.
they just went after this poor girl, and people were so incredibly cruel. They were calling her like horse face, and
Mm.
here's somebody that's going on a show to try and I don't, or I'm sure her intentions were real, because you could tell.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I had to say that, but I feel like listening to you, it was like you've put so much pressure on yourself
No, I didn't.
throughout life and we're going to go back to the kind of guy, and there's a reason why I skipped forward, because I wanted to get into that, but just
Yeah.
the pressure of being a spin instructor, having a 9 to 5 job, then taking the break, then being in the relationship with the coworker, to moving on, then putting yourself in this giant platform where everybody's stuck in their house. So
Right.
I'm sure the viewership, since it was season 1, was higher than it's ever been,
It was
because
crazy. Yeah.
yeah, and it's like this new show, so everybody's watching it.
Right.
And
And
then
everyone's stuck in their house. They have
and
nothing else.
everyone's stuck in their house, so everyone's watching. I mean, we were watching Carol Baskins
Yes.
and
Yeah.
Joe, whatever, the
Yeah.
lion guy.
Yeah.
So I remember watching that and being glued to the TV, because nobody had anything to do
Right.
except
Yeah.
watch TV,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So
Tiger King bumped us out of #1 spot.
oh, it did? Okay. Okay. Well,
Yeah.
I'm sorry I was watching that and
No,
not
no,
you.
it was no, it's funny, but no, yeah, it was just so much. I mean, because when the show aired, again, I was working the 9 to 5. Now I'm an influencer, so everyone expects things of you. Brands want to work with you, so I'm
Yeah.
like, I create content, which is not, it's not easy, and it's not a quick
I
thing.
understand. I
A lot.
understand. Yeah.
So much.
Yeah.
And I was like trying to coach people too. So I literally felt like I had like 3 or 4 full-time jobs going on, trying to respond to people on Instagram, like all the things. And yeah, so Valentine's weekend, 2021, I broke down. I woke up back to back Saturday and Sunday, 6:30 a.m., racing hard. I had never experienced this before, and I have not experienced it ever since. Thank goodness. But I knew, I was like, I can't keep doing this. And I remember even like a few months after the show aired, I told my parents, and of course, yes, I'm an adult, I can make my own decisions, but we still rely on our parents here and there. And I mentioned, I was like, I'm really tired. Like, I just can't do this. And they're like, well, Kelly, why don't you stop doing everything else and do what's consistent, which is your 9 to 5 job, and safe and consistent. And I was like, like that. It's like, kill me. I just did not like it. I got that job because I needed money, kind of thing. And, so I stuck with it though. And I did. And so whenever I had those anxiety attacks, I stayed with my parents for a full week. And when my dad was like, Kel, I'm going to bring you back to Atlanta, my whole body was like, no, like I can't go back to that job. I did for like a week. And then I called my boss in tears, and I was like, I can't do this anymore. I'm done. I did not care. I didn't care if I was going to make money. I would figure it out. Like, I did not care. My health was more important. I was more important. And so I took time off. So 2021 to December of 22, I did do some coaching. I did some brand deals. My nervous system was still very dysregulated because my income was very dysregulated. I was just inconsistent with a lot of things, but I really probably needed like 6 months to just heal and do nothing. But we don't get to do that, so that kind of sucked. But it's all working out the way it's supposed to. I did in the end of 22 go back into corporate America. So I was like, okay, I do need to do something that creates some consistency and regulates my nervous system a little bit more. And I've now almost been with this position for 3 years, and it's very flexible. I do outside sales mostly. My own schedule. I am a people person. It's kind of reflecting back to me. Hey, Kelly, remember your superpowers? You like connecting with people, and in person. Like, I get to go to lunches and do coffee dates and things like that. And it's fun.
But it's less stress and you found something you liked.
Yes,
Okay.
exactly. It's a lot less stress. And though I do recognize it's still siphoning my energy, and because where I really want to be doing, just like you mentioned, you're like, your eyes lit up because yes, I do have a bigger purpose and passion. And I took a break, obviously I took a break from coaching over the last year because I was like, I just think I need a clean break to reset. I'll just focus on the podcast and content creation stuff and getting realigned to my purpose and wow, who I really want to help in the coaching space. So I do have the courses and things like that. And
so talk about the courses. And I promise listeners, we're going to go back to the guy.
Yeah, we're going to go back.
I'm I didn't want to stop you, but I really wanted to get to the career piece of it. And I think, I think that's fine. We in life, we ebb and flow as people. So sometimes you don't have a choice and you have to go back into a career, but it doesn't have to be one where you're this is killing me.
Right.
And that's why I kind of said, make a plan, have ideas, say to yourself, maybe you're listening and you're in a corporate job and you're miserable and you think to yourself, what can I do? And make some goals and figure out ways that you could maybe do something else. Not everybody is going to be on TV and make money as an actor and actress. The percentage of people that do that and make money is, I can tell you, because I live in LA and I understand the business, and it's very, very small. And even the people in that business that are making money are not making money like they used to. So I'll tell you that. So have realistic goals, right? Yeah. And I'm sure we can talk about that because I love that you're launching this course. So can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah. So it's going to be called Awaken because I want to awaken women to their potential, more or less. I want to help women call in their next level love and next level wealth themselves. And it's a lot of subconscious reprogramming work, law of attraction, manifestation stuff around money mindset, around your relationship with love, what success looks like, what wealth looks like. And then further into that, we will be diving into, okay, hey, maybe this being in this program for the last couple of months has sparked you to take your passion and turn it into purpose or turn it into profit too. So I do basic business coaching, to help them, start a high ticket offer or digital course, create a digital course themselves, or really just connect with their purpose and be okay, what you're doing. Yeah, maybe it is serving you. My career right now, it is serving me for sure. And it's supporting what I'm moving into. I mean, I don't leave your 9 to 5 unless you have this going on, unless you have radical trust in God and faith.
Especially now in this economy, you have to be so careful.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But I do have 3 courses right now. Basically what I'm going to do though, those 3 courses are going to move into Awaken. So you can purchase the courses by themselves and just go through Money Magnet. That's obviously your wealth consciousness, Rejection to Redemption. That's the self-love dating course. And then, my online business accelerator, that's the basic business coaching. But I will take all of those, move them over into Awaken, and you'll actually have live coaching with me and live Q&A so that we can go through the course together, more or less, over 3 to 6 months. So I'm really excited about that, and just to awaken people to remember who they are, take them back home to themselves, bring connect back home. Really, it's a self-love program, more or less.
I love it. And I love too. And then we're going to talk about the guy. I'm sorry, everyone. I promise we're going to talk about love with God. But I'm so caught up in the very beginning when your face lit up and you said this. So I had to focus on that piece of it because I think there's so many women, and I hate saying women because there's men that can relate too, that are just stuck, and you see it in people's faces. The thing about women that I say all the time that's fantastic is that we talk to each other. And if we're struggling, we'll be like, this sucks, I'm upset, and here's why. Whereas men are in these high-powered jobs a lot of times. They're constantly stressed out. They don't talk about their issues.
Right.
And then they might turn to drugs and alcohol or whatever it is to try and escape the reality of I'm going to work in the morning, I'm going to get home at night, and I'm just going to be miserable all day.
Yeah.
just going through the motions, where it's so important for people in general to realize, yeah, maybe you're not exactly where you want to be right now, but I've said this before. I've had 3 careers in my life, and maybe I'll have another one. You don't know, but I was an actor, aspiring actress and singer. And then I went into sales like you. And now I'm a podcaster. And thankfully I do this right now and am okay doing it. So there's a lot of different avenues that we'll all go through. And maybe at some point I will be a professional break dancer or something. Who knows? You
Exactly.
never know. You never know. I could be like an old lady dancer. You don't know. Okay, so let's shift and go into the story of the guy and kind of like how you ended up in these kinds of abusive domestic, because I really want to focus on that piece as we close, because I think it's important.
Yeah. So yes, like I said, it was kind of like friends with benefit situation. I lived in a college town, so we would be out at the bars, and I remember one instance in particular. I was talking to a mutual guy friend, and he comes up and just grabs me and was like, "What are you gonna do? Go home and F this guy?" And the guy was like, "Bro, we're just talking about chemistry class." Like, what? It was. Everyone was just really taken aback. Anyways, those types of experiences would continue to happen. It got to the point that, basically, anytime that he would have a raging night, that he would call me the next day and be like, "Hey, I'm so sorry about last night. I was drunk, all the excuses, whatever. Come over and we'll talk about things." And I was like, okay. And yes, at some point it's like you're crying wolf, because what would happen, I would go over there and, I'm really cold and standoffish. And I was just like, what? Okay, you're sorry. Let's not let it happen again. Cool. Then I would get up to use the bathroom or something. I'd come back. My purse was not sitting where I left it, or my keys weren't on the coffee table. And I'm like, did you take my stuff? What? And so long story short, he would trap me in his house, and out of survival, I would have to do something sexual in order for him to give me my stuff back. So it was just, and again, I don't think I ever really told that part of it to anybody, because how embarrassing. There was a lot of shame and guilt around that too. But I would call my friends and be like, "He trapped me in his house again." And they're like, "Well, stop falling for it." But also, okay, well, let's just stop being around him, stop hanging out with him. And I'm like, well, our college town is kind of small. I can't just avoid him. But anyway, but it happened multiple times, to the point that it started now getting physical. I showed up at some house party. Literally I was there for 2 seconds, and he came running out of the house and just pushed me down to the ground in front of a bunch of guys. I think everyone was just in fight or flight. Everyone just froze. And I remember the one guy that I was talking to, who's just talking to him very calmly. I'm surprised no one punched him or something, but no one did. Everyone was just like, what the heck just happened? He stole my car that night. Somehow he got my keys, because I think I was just so emotional. Someone took my purse. He got my purse, got my keys, all the things. Went to get my car the next day with a friend. And my windshield was cracked, and he's like, "Oh, I tried to take it to a car wash and something fell on it." I was like, "No, you freaking punched it, you idiot." So I was also in a very my parents, they knew about all of this, and they're like, "You stop hanging out with him, or you're going to have we're going to move you back to Loganville, and you're going to have to go to school. You're going to have to commute, or you're going to have to take online classes." And I was like, it's my senior year. I'm not. Yeah. So I was putting that above my own safety. But because of that, then the next thing that happened, I didn't want my parents to find out about my car. And I'm like, okay, I don't know if I can. And he's like, "I'll just call a portable glass repair service and they'll come over." I'm like, "Cool, fine." I went over. He's like, "Come inside." I'm like, "Nope, that was the last time. I'm not coming inside." So I was like, the guy did show up. He fixed my windshield. And then he got in the car with me as I was trying to leave. And before, and he lived in like an apartment community. So there was a gate at the end, and I drove up. I was like, oh my God, get out of my car. But I was like, fine, then I guess you're just going to come with me where I'm going. But then I stopped my car and parked over to the side. And I was like, get out of my car. Like, you have to get out. And there was a guy landscaping, thank God, like on the hill right there. And I tried to get out of my car one time, and he like pulls my hair and pulled me back into the car. And he's like grabbing my arms, grabbing my, you know, there's like right on my thighs, like grabbing me, like, you're not going anywhere. We just need to talk. And I'm like, we don't need to talk. That we're over talking. Like, we're done here. And the landscaper guy like comes kind of close to my car. I rolled the window down, and he was like, is everything okay here? And I'm like looking at him like, no, it's not okay, you know? And he's like, I'm going to be right here if you need me. And I'm like, I do need you. But I think something else must have happened. And the guy like took his phone out and like was like looking at the guy. And he's like, dude, is there a problem? You know? And he's like, no, sir, there's not a problem. She's just being emotional, blah, 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 blah. But he did finally, I think when he like pulled his phone out or whatever, the guy like got out of my car and like went home. And I was like, thank you, you know? But at that point I was like, okay, this whole last 24 hours just got real serious. Got real serious. And plus I had like marks on my hands now, like on my wrists and my thighs. And so I did call my parents, and they immediately came up. We went to the police station and filed a police report and did that. And that was pretty much unless I blacked out somewhere, that was pretty much the last time I think I saw him, was that day.
So it was like you found yourself in these, like, that's definitely an abusive relationship. Yeah. And he sounds like he was a stalker. That is very scary.
God. Oh yeah. I mean, he would show up. I mean, I didn't, like, this would take another hour to talk about, but I mean, he would show up at my house at 2:00 in the morning and like trying to like get in to talk to me. Like, even after one of those nights, instead of like waiting till the next day, there were times he would show up at my house.
So you found yourself kind of in the cycle of like just that alone would make women in general be like, okay, I'm standoffish moving forward towards men. I'm, there's a lot of women that would find themselves in like a love bombing kind of relationship. It sounds like he was doing to that back and forth, being like, no, I'm sorry. And then I'm assuming you found yourself in that cycle from there, correct? With other relationships. Yeah.
I definitely did. I mean, I think, I want to say, just like with any abusive relationship, now that I understand it, it's like, you knew them before, right? Like, they weren't abusive from the very beginning. So it's like, you know them before, and you're like, then it's the excuses, and you're just like hoping that they'll go back to that person that you first met, and they're not. Mm-hmm. They're more them right now than they were when you first met them. And so it was just hard for me to get out of the loop of it, because I'm like, he was just drunk, or like, I couldn't wrap my head around why I kept like falling for it. So like kept repeating these same things. And the people pleasing, I think, is what carried on into future situationships, relationships, whatever, because yes, I was like constantly trying to, and I did have a boyfriend or two after that, but like there was one, I mean, we've been broken up now for 12 years, but it was definitely a lot of people pleasing happening. I mean, I lost myself in that relationship. I probably was already lost, but I lost myself even further. And then when we broke up, I was very heartbroken and continued to lose myself. I mean, again, that was kind of like when I got health coaching certified. So I'm like launching great things, but then we broke up. I started losing myself in other guys, all these situationships, the non-commitment, but like, I'm the cool girl, so I can still hang out with everybody and be around. And the people pleasing was so intense. I was literally abandoning myself the entire time.
But that's because it's the trauma of not, and I don't know if you were in counseling or therapy or whatever it was after that, but it's the trauma. Like, I say this all the time because I'm a survivor of some really awful things in childhood, that you can push the things down for as long as you want. Like, you can be like, I'm doing this. I'm got this coaching career. I'm doing well at work. I'm teaching spinning. I'm doing whatever else. I'm going out. I have lots of friends. And then all of a sudden it's going to creep up again. Yeah. Because that's what the trauma does to us. Right. Mm-hmm. So what he did and planting the seed when you were young like that is always going to kind of follow us throughout life. And I've done a ton of therapy and found all different ways to try and get past my my PTSD that I have. And it still creeps up. Like
Yeah.
I still have that little voice in my head that's like, what are you doing? Like blah, 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 blah. And then at night I start to spiral a little bit. And it's just part of being human, but it's finding the tools, you know,
Absolutely.
to kind of get past it. So so then you ended up dating and going on and having the career and doing all this stuff. And then we got to Love is Blind. And I don't mean to skip a lot ahead, but I think it's an important piece of your whole story, right? Is to be in the spotlight, like we talked about, find this love interest in that short amount of time. And then my question to you is, did you really fall in love? Or did you think you fell in love? Or was it the people pleasing and all the things that we've talked about?
I don't think that I fell in love. I was like loving the man that I was getting to know. But he and I talked about early on, we were like, I don't think that this is how, like, if we work out, like, I don't think this is how we want things to work out. I don't want to get married on TV kind of thing. Like, let's date. And we both, spoiler alert, we both said no at the altar. But they showed me saying no at the altar when they aired it. So it looked like I broke his heart. Obviously, now
and then all of the people came after. Okay. Yeah.
then I'm
That
getting
sounds fun.
messages. Yes.
Yeah.
But with that being said, we did not wind up dating afterwards. I mean, I felt very rejected. He like ended it. Granted, in hindsight, I know why. Like he was very self-aware. He knew he needed to like just get back to normal life. And if things were to work out, then they would have. But again, it was like that, like needy, graspy, like people pleasing, the trauma. That's what it was. It was like everything coming up. I mean, from everything, you know, that I had experienced. And I remember when I started working with this business and mindset coach a few weeks later, that was one of her questions to me was like, are you so upset and like in pain because you were so in love with him and this is just really hurting you? Or is it the pain of rejection? And I sat there and I was like, it was like, whoa. I was like, the pain of rejection, 100%.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you're right. I'm not in love with him. I don't like, otherwise I would probably have said yes at the altar. I'm like, but I was loving the man that I was getting to know. I thought he was a wonderful person. I said, but no, something was not connecting on the inside. Now, do I think probably some of what wasn't connecting for me was a lot of the trauma, was a lot of the unhealed stuff. I mean, what you said about the counseling stuff, like I went to one therapy session after that scenario 20 years ago. And I didn't love the therapist basically, because my mom picked me up from the session and she was like, did you book your next appointment? And I said, no, I'm good. I'm fine.
I love that you bring that up. Please, listeners, like listen to that because I talk about it a lot. There's a lot of therapists out there. I've been to a million.
Yeah.
You have to find the right person.
Yeah, you do.
You have to find the right person.
My parents, I think I think their mindset is if there's something wrong with you, that's when you go to therapy, right? So,
Yeah. That's the old school way.
It's the old school way of thinking. And I didn't know anything other than that. And so my mom just took it like, okay, she's fine. Okay. So we just didn't. But yeah, I mean, my constant hustling, grinding, disconnecting, binge drinking, it was all because I was avoiding. I had never healed from that. I never focused on it. And when I started working with that coach, fast forward nearly 15 years later, we started talking about it. So I started to uncover, and granted, no, we didn't like only talk about that. Obviously I was there for business and mindset coaching, but it was the first time that I opened up about it and went deeper with it. And she was a trauma informed coach. So I did feel like safe, in that regard. But I mean, I can't say that I've had like a lot of therapy around that situation still. I've done my own type of work around it, of course. And I mean, I forgive the guy, I forgive myself, you know, I didn't know how to show up and that kind of thing. And I was in fear and all that. But yeah, I mean, definitely have to shop around for your therapist. And I did see one over the last 6 months, and we did start doing a little bit of work on it. Some EMDR. We had a session.
EMDR is the best. I love it. I've done it too. And there's no judgment, by the way, being like, hey, everyone, you have to be in therapy and we're going to all be full circle. Believe me, my husband tells me like on a weekly basis, you need to get back in therapy. I'm not in therapy right now. You need to, like this is stuff like things are bubbling back up. So we're all like a work in progress. We always will be. But what I find fascinating about you is like when you can admit, this is what I've overcome, right? Because you've overcome a lot of things. And if I were to walk into a Starbucks and start chatting with you, I'd be like, wow, this girl's great. I love that when she talks about there's this big spark in her eyes and she's going to go out there and help people and do something with her life. And so that's what makes you great. And that's what I foresee. You have some amazing things ahead.
Thank you.
But the piece of it that I think is important is that we leave everybody knowing that we're all works in progress. We're all trying to just make it out the other side and do what's right. And so I'm so grateful that you came on and you shared your story today. I'm going to be going back and watching Love is Blind, and I might be asking you some questions.
Yeah,
I now need to. Are you like currently, am I allowed to ask you, are you currently in a relationship or dating anybody, or is that?
No, I did go on a date last Sunday, but
okay.
And it was great because it was like the type of person in the sense of like the like-minded entrepreneurial spirit. We were like, he even said, he was like, if anybody was like listening to our conversation right now, they'd be like, what in the world? Because we were just talking like just high level stuff, but I didn't feel, and obviously he hasn't followed up and that's okay because I didn't feel it, but the like chemistry, the romantic spark really wasn't there. It was more of just like an intellectual thing. It was fine.
And also it's just like, it's so weird how things happen when they're supposed to happen.
Yeah.
Right. I really believe in that.
Yeah.
You can, I was out with a friend of mine last night and she was saying, she only really dated a few people in life and she's, dating again now. She married one of the people and it's like a whole thing, but she was like, kind of reiterating, you never know. Like, even if you're married now, you don't know if that's going to work out. You never know if somebody's whatever's going to happen in life, but it's working on you and you are the person that matters. And then it either happens and somebody comes along, but it's you being the whole person. We don't necessarily need another person to make us the person we need to be to go through life and have our goals and do our things. So sometimes I feel like I felt weird being like, so are you dating anyone right now? Like, what's going on? But I felt like I had to ask that because you were on Love is Blind, because that would be like asking me like, so like, what's your marriage like right now? Well, my husband told me he hated me this morning and I'm joking. I'm joking. He had to drive me to like do stuff. But anyway, Kelly, it was so lovely meeting you. You're so great and fabulous. And I don't know, I just see something really amazing in your future. And it's just really great to have met you and had you on. So listeners, tell my listeners where they can find you.
Yeah, mostly on Instagram at Chase Life with Kelly, podcast at Chase Life with Kelly. It's streaming anywhere you can listen to podcasts, also video available on YouTube. My website is just chaselifewithkelly.com, courses if you want to work with me. And then I pop on to TikTok here and there, and that is I am Kelly Chase. I was having an identity thing that day.
Maybe you can explain TikTok to me because I still don't understand.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I popped in.
Okay. Well, everyone, Kelly, thank you again. Everyone, keep going. You matter. Your story matters.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Judging Meghan with Meghan Judge.